Hi guys! Hi everybody! We are here to talk about stress and chronic stress today. This was a video that I wanted to put together a little while back, and then life happened really quickly. Everybody's good. Everything is good. It was just a big shift in our life. Everybody is safe. We had a COVID positive in our family. Everybody's fine, but there was a lot of stressful moments where we were forced as a unit to sort of take a pause from what was happening. And it was ironic because we were talking about, and I was talking about with a lot of clients as well, how we were going to talk about chronic stress and what chronic stress looks like, or what stress looks like in the body, and why it's so bad in the long run. And I was going to put together this video, and I figured I had a lot of inquiries, a lot of people contact me regarding anxiety and regarding stress and chronic stress. And so I made notes for everything. I just want to stay on track and talk about the main bullets of the subject. And then if there are any questions that come up, I would be more than happy to answer them. You can just leave comments below. And then I'm going to be posting this on Instagram, on YouTube, and then linking them all together. So if you guys want to check in at a later time when you have more time, then you would be able to do something like that. So I'm going to take a quick sip of this water. How's everybody doing today? Everybody doing good? You guys a little stressed? Stress is a normal part of being human. Stress is anything from a looming deadline to a blind date to a looming test results that are coming in. It's part of your fight and flight response. Fight and flight response, or fight and freeze response, also correlates with when you hear a random sound in the parking garage you never heard before, or when you encounter a big, large dog that you've never encountered before. Anything that creates this sort of chemical reaction in your body, and it's a physical and a psychological response. So we can get into 1,000 different reasons and versions of how this can happen. The body is very complex. Not only is the body very complex, but your brain is super complex. So we're just going to talk about two of our systems, which is our parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the homeostasis of our bodies, balance, homeostasis, and our sympathetic nervous system, which is what we're going to be focusing on today. And part of the sympathetic nervous system is our vagus nerve, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So what happens is your body gets stimulated really quickly, and it's going to react really fast because it has to protect you from this unknown, this moment of imbalance. So your body activates what's called an HPA axis, and the HPA axis is the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, the adrenal gland. It's a series of chemical reactions. So first, the amygdala, which is part of your brain, and I did a little printout. The area of your brain that is responsible for emotional processing. So here is what is called the limbic system. It's made up of all these incredible pieces of your brain, right? Let me see if you guys can see this. So we have the hypothalamus, which we're talking about right now, and the amygdala, which we're talking about today. All these other areas we're not going to talk about today, but we're talking about the hypothalamus and your amygdala. So first response is the amygdala, that is the area of the brain that's responsible for emotional processing, triggers a response to triggers or sends a signal to the hypothalamus. Our hypothalamus is our center of our command center. It's responsible for the automatic nervous system, which controls involuntary functions such as blood pressure, breathing, and your heart rate. And what this happens is, so the hypothalamus is part of this HPA axis. It sends a signal down to the pituitary gland, and simultaneously, at exactly the same time, the adrenal gland reacts as well. So your pituitary gland sends ACTH, which is responsible for creation, or it's a catalyst response. It wants cortisol to be pumped into your whole body alongside epinephrine, which is also adrenaline. And adrenaline is very much responsible for blood pressure and increasing your heart rate. You've had adrenaline rushes before, right? And if you played sports, you did definitely have adrenaline rushes. You know, when you're going up for a layup, playing basketball and somebody comes and tries to interfere, or playing soccer or football, you've had those adrenaline rushes, or even adrenaline rushes to catch a bus or catch a train. You got to the train station 5 minutes before the train was taking off. This adrenaline fight or flight response pushes you to get past it and get on this train. So epinephrine and cortisol. So cortisol, epinephrine is adrenaline. Cortisol is responsible for, think of it as cortisol being the flame that ignites the fire. So cortisol comes in from the adrenal gland, which is sitting right on top of your kidneys. And what it does is it creates this breakdown of sugars and glucose to turn them into fuel, and it increases your brain's ability to break down this glucose or this fuel so it can pump it through the rest of the body, so the body can react to what the scenario is that is causing you to run. So this is basically the body's reaction from the sympathetic nervous system when cortisol and adrenaline is being pumped through your body. Okay, so I'm just gonna hold this right here. I'm gonna talk about it. So adrenaline alongside cortisol, what it does, it dilates your pupils, it tenses your muscles, it accelerates your heart rate, it constricts your blood vessels. So basically your heart rate is increased, so your blood pressure is increased, you're pumping more blood through your body and getting this glucose moving through all your organs. It secretes epinephrine and cortisol, like we talked about. It increases cholesterol, so high levels of fat. If you're going to be in a high level of stress, your body doesn't know when it's going to eat again, so it's going to store all kinds of extra fat inside of it. Not only that, but now it inhibits your digestive system and your intestines, and it suppresses inhibits your reproductive system, and it also decreases your levels of serotonin. And serotonin is closely related and responsible for monitoring sleep, monitoring other functions such as hunger. And this is the reaction that happens inside your body when you are under high levels of stress, right? Simple, quick, high levels of stress are fine. They are fine. You have to survive these situations, and your body recognizes that you need to get the fuck out of whatever situation you're in. So stress as a daily thing is normal. Now, the issue comes in when your body or your mind or you as a whole cannot shut down this HPA axis, which is your hypothalamus, your pituitary, and your adrenal glands. When they cannot be suppressed, your body continues to live in this high levels of stress. And I don't know if you guys watched a quick video that I did this week about PTSD. PTSD exists or is a thing. It's a big psychological mental health issue because your brain or your nervous system cannot recognize when something stressful is happening right now or when you are reliving something stressful, okay? So if you've been through a very traumatic experience, your level of stress is extremely high in that moment of that trauma. Your brain and us as thinkers and emotional beings will continue to try to process the situation over and over and over and over again as if we were reliving it because we're trying to figure out what happened in that moment. If cortisol continues to be pumped throughout your body and adrenaline continues to be pumped throughout your body, since it also suppresses your immune system. So when your fight and flight response happens and your cortisol is being pumped through your body and adrenaline is increasing your heart rate and increasing your blood pressure, cortisol is shutting down areas that are not needed for survival in this particular moment in time when you hear a very wild dog barking in the distance or some kind of weird alarm you've never heard before. It will suppress your immune system. It also suppresses your sexual drive. It suppresses your reproductive system. It shuts down your serotonin, which is responsible for basically calming us down. So what happens inside your body when you have high chronic levels of stress is you have anxiety and depression. And anxiety and depression is this constant feeling of feeling like you're stuck, like you can't move anywhere. And one of the articles that I found while I've been doing this research for a while, and as part of my new trauma-informed Reiki practice that I have been working on, plus some of the coaching that I do, Yale released an article on chronic stress, and there is a PhD. Her name is Rajita Sinha, and she's the director of Yale Medicine and Interdisciplinary Stress Center. And stress is something that's been studied for years. Therapists, psychotherapists, Reiki healers, holistic healers, shaman, we've been studying the chemical reactions inside the bodies to understand how to balance this energy that we call life, right? So in this article, a couple of quotes that she says, and then we're going to move forward, and I had to highlight them. We humans are very good at facing challenge, solving a situation, or reaching out to someone to get support. We're wired to respond to stress and remove it, sometimes even automatically. But life has some more complex and many situations that don't make it easy for us to be able to release these stressful situations. Stressful situations piled up on top of the stressful situations on top of the stressful situations become this sort of ball of stress that pull us under and create anxiety. Anxiety is living in the past or in the future, not in the present. You can't solve an issue. And also anxiety comes from chronic stress. In chronic stress, we think that everything is interconnected. So if we don't figure this out or that out, then we're just gonna perpetually be stressing out and end up doing nothing. So they have these sort of feelings of feeling stuck. And it's one of the things that Dr. Sinha said from the Yale study too. And people experience chronic stress might feel incapable of changing their situations or feeling like they're currently stuck. And another thing too that she does mention in this article is what stress does to our bodies, which is very, very much connected to the chronic stress that is being caused by this constant release of cortisol. So cortisol also creates heart disease. If your body's homeostasis is never acquired, so your system that is completely wired and going absolutely insane is your parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for your fight or flight response. If we never come back to our homeostasis, our parasympathetic nervous system never gets activated because we're constantly stressed out. So what happens is our heart, we are going to come to body sicknesses such as heart disease, high blood pressure, weight gain. Now, serotonin is responsible for making sure that you can balance out your hunger, for your metabolic rate. Now, if we're pumping cortisol into our systems, we're never going to be able to lose weight because we're always in high levels of stress. Another thing that happens is you have stomach problems, headaches. Stomach problems come also from another big giant pile of chemicals and hormones that are being released that are part of balancing your immune system. It is really important to have a balanced gut for your immune system. All these systems are sort of connected, but I digress. So when we talk about this also, we have headaches, high pressure in our heads, or intense migraines. And not only that, but when we're highly stressed, we suppress our sexual drive since our reproductive system is being suppressed. Are you guys keeping up here with me? It's pretty freaking wild. So what happens also inside your body, and this is done with the Yale article, and I'm going to link all this if I can in either the comments at the bottom or the actual video, but all this stuff you guys will be able to look into yourselves. You end up with aches and pains, insomnia, sleepiness, low energy, unfocused, cloudy thinking, because serotonin is also responsible for your focus. That's being suppressed because you're high levels of stress. Cortisol suppressing the serotonin. You are not able to focus. You have no sex drive. Secondary to stress is also hypertension, anxiety disorders, and other conditions that I could list. I mean, I could go on forever. This list is massive. So the way that it relates to what I do on a daily basis and what I'm responsible of doing with my clients, especially when it comes to chakra balancing and holistic healing, for you guys to know this, I have 2 more pieces of paper that I have to show you. So this is coming from the Philadelphia University, or Thomas Jefferson University, and it's pretty freaking cool, and I posted it in my feed before, and this is what stress does to your body, to your throat, to your brain, to your stomach, to your heart, to your intestines, liver, blood vessels, and your nervous system. These are all the things that happened. I'm sorry, I was out of focus. I apologize. This is all that happens to you when you're under high levels of stress. And I can list it piece by piece here if you guys want. I'm also going to link this to here. But so your throat, difficulty breathing, your stomach aches, brain, headaches, migraines, heart problems, liver, diabetes, high levels of glucose. Diabetes is also diet controlled. There are 2 types of diabetes. One type of diabetes is diet controlled diabetes. You eat too much, you don't exercise enough, your body in high levels of stress, because you could be stressing out about eating. That's another chronic level of stress. There's so many different chronic levels of stress that you cause yourself from overthinking and are being caused by your environment. And if they can be changed, it should be changed. But they correlate very closely to our chakras, our 7 major chakras. We have our crown, our third eye, our throat, our heart, our belly, which is basically our oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank? It's because I talk too much. Our solar plexus, our sacrum, and our root chakras. So when you talk about chakras, the craziest part about the correlation between stress and our chakras is goes basically hand in hand. When I have a client come in to see me and they're complaining about headaches and belly aches, and I do a basic scanning of their body and a basic conversation on what's going on, I can pinpoint where these issues are coming from. But everything is connected. Every single thing is connected. Chronic stress can be relieved, and you can overcome it and have a thriving, incredible, happy life. All you have to do is take the first step into moving past this chemical reaction inside our body that is basically controlled by going down to the root of what the problem is and how this trauma started. Once you start dancing with your demons and really looking at your levels of stress, you can move forward into a better life. I'm going to show you this one more time, and then I'm going to give you guys my goodbyes. This is your stress. I posted in one of my stories. I'll try to post it again. This is what stress does to your body. And these are your major chakras. So your major chakras are, if you're overthinking, your crown chakra. So you're getting a lot of headaches. Headaches are also related to too much thinking, too much processing in your brains. If your third eye is sort of also blocked, so crown and third eye are connected to each other. Your heart, through heartache or not being open to receiving or not being open to love, it can be blocked. Your throat chakra is blocked when you're not speaking your truth or you're not talking about the things that you actually have to talk about to get to the other side. Healing or getting past these traumas is you talking about them, you journaling about them, you seeking help Another great way of helping you get past all this and get through to the other side of this chronic stress to a better life is exercise, drinking plenty of water, yoga, boxing, moving, walking, nature, taking the time that you need to get past all this stuff. There's a lot of information that you might not agree on that is coming your way right now that is stressing you out, and decisions that you need to make currently that you cannot because you're so stressed out. Unless you get clear, because the serotonin is being suppressed in your brains and you cannot focus, unless you get clear and come down from that serotonin and come down from that cortisol and adrenaline high that you're currently on, which is high levels of stress, you will never be able to make a clear decision. Another thing that is suppressed that is huge in this whole entire system of fight or flight in our axis is, I know there's so much information, guys. In our axis, in our HPA axis is our solar plexus, our sacrum, and our root chakra. These last three are the ones that ground us, that root us to the ground. This is responsible for self-esteem, self-assertion, self-love. This one is responsible for your sacrum, your sexuality, your expression of self, your creativity, and your root chakra is responsible for being rooted, financial stability, being able to create the life that you want. If you're suppressing all this by being stressed out all the time, you will not be able to move forward in your life. So the time is now. I've given you all this crazy amounts of information. There's a second part to this video coming up in a couple of weeks about how other systems in your body are completely connected to your chakras and how to balance and thrive further. So here's just a little bit of information about what chronic stress looks like, what stress looks like, what chronic stress looks like, and what chronic stress causes you to have to experience, what is so bad for your body, and how you have healers and therapists all over that would love to help you get better so we as the human race can have an epic couple of decades ahead of us. I love you guys so much. Thanks so much for being here. I'll talk to you soon.